Ready?
Yes, sir.
Well, here we are once again. Afternoon and welcome to Gaming Into the Influence Live and Unleashed with Mike and Alex at Green Dragon, fucking CVR in Woodbridge, Ontario.
Yeah.
Where we're here to talk to you once again about video games.
As usual, buddy.
As usual. What else is there? What are you drinking there, man?
There's also beer, and I'm drinking a Rasbiscus, which is a raspberry hibiscus kettle sour from the George Brewing Co.
Badass.
Where are these guys?
These guys are in Newmarket.
Newmarket. Nice. Close by.
We're on a list of a new, they're apparently preparing some very fresh IPA right now. It should be here next week. We'll see how that goes.
Very nice. Yeah, this one, surprisingly, I'm not really a big fan of raspberry. Like, it's too tart for me, too, like, soury. I don't know if this one's just stale or if it's just.
I think it's good, actually.
It's it doesn't hit me with that much sourness. I can tolerate it. Basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
so,
I feel like it is nice.
It's nice. It's not bad.
Not overly tart.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm drinking a cider from Duxbury. Two kinds, Tilted Barn and fucking Side Road. Both really good. One's more dry. The other's dry hopped. Very pleasant stuff. Gonna have to order some more actually because it's mostly gone. Haven't had the fucking occasion to buy it since last year, but now people are coming through again. It's quite nice.
Nice.
So I hope you guys are doing well tonight, and hope you're doing well too, man. What the fuck?
Thank you.
I had a strange story I want to tell you actually about my experiences yesterday playing some video games. I spent, as I've been explaining to you this whole week, a lot of time playing Bravely Default, and I'm fucking
Me too.
stuck. I got stuck more than once on a couple of different bosses, and it was, to the point where like all of the fucking battles en route there were just trivially fucking easy. They just were over in a turn, and like all the enemies run away from you, you get no XP. So it's stood to reason
at a certain
that
point, like there have been a few times where I've gone into an area and have been wiped by like a random battle, but not very often. Oh, right. But yeah, it's weird. There have been a few times where I've just gone totally wiped from like a random battle. I don't know. Maybe I think it was more due to the fact that I'd be running out of MP at that point because I'd be on like a little bit of a grind session or a couple battles in, and once things get hairy a little bit, once you start to lose MP there, kind of seems like the name of the game there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I fucking thought about that after. Dude, don't worry, dude. Don't worry. Sorry about that.
That's
On the way up. I'll just conclude this with that.
My God, this game looks fucking brutal, Mike. Holy shit, Blasphemous looks fucking dope.
Yeah, right here where I started it.
Jeez.
To get the true ending, you have to go around the map and destroy like 7 of these statues that otherwise give you some beneficial effect. And when you do, you got to go into these weird rooms that throw a bunch of recent enemies in and some strange traps and stuff. And this one I found very challenging because
Yeah.
the fucking spike trap in the middle was like a one-shot kill.
Oh shit, I didn't notice that. Yeah, nice.
And also one of the enemies that come up shortly after this is this floating bitch that just shoots beams at you. It's terrible. Oh yeah. Sorry. So we can just actually fucking perhaps cut to. I'm just gonna start fucking talking about this concept of the fucking two games both being unenjoyable, one being good for that reason, and one being bad, right?
Go nuts, buddy.
So I had this strange fucking experience this week playing Blasphemous and Bravely Default at the same time. Now I told you that. Just like you, we've been struggling against some of the bosses in Bravely Default. It feels that, oh yeah, see this enemy right here, this flying chick.
Oh, wow.
Terribly difficult because of that. Ooh. Yeah, but, feels like Bravely Default most of the time I really like it, man. I love the fucking world. I love the gameplay mechanics. I really think they did a great job of fucking iterating upon fucking classic JRPG mechanics, making it into a new kind of beast, in a way that even games that I think are amazing, like Dragon Quest XI, did not do, right? But then you get to some of the bosses, in the first few, it was like, okay, this is a bit much, but whatever. You get through it after a couple of attempts. It's one I'm at now that I think you beat it, but fuck.
Yeah,
I feel like there's no point in grinding anywhere near where I am, Yeah. And I go in, and everything feels just like a wiffle bat fight, bro. It's fucking.
It's incredible. It's staggering.
Literally a couple of times I got wiped the first turn.
Oh yeah, it's mostly because like it feels like there's a huge disconnect between the overworld battles and the boss battles, right? Like it becomes a staggering fucking difference. Like you said, the enemies around you are running away because you're overleveled in that. In that sense. But then as soon as you go into a boss battle,
per guy,
and like in 2 or 3 fucking turns, you get wiped if you're not careful and healing and like not like basically like perfectly min-maxing everything you possibly can to get every possible advantage.
Which
right?
presents its own difficulties, then, right?
Yeah,
like, I tried to do that. Okay, fine. That's the approach, and fine. I'm going to do that. I go into the fight. I got fucking tons of ether. I fucking spend the whole time protecting everybody and making sure they don't get one-shotted. But then you fucking take 50 turns and you run out of fucking resources at that point because all of the damage spells fucking cost a shit ton, And
that's another thing. You unlock, it doesn't take too long to unlock the highest fucking magic spells, but they cost a fucking insane amount of MP and you run out because I guess you don't have enough or fucking under level. I don't know, right? The balance just seems fucky with that game.
It does seem a little bit fucky. Right? I'm going to return to it afterwards and fucking try again. Honestly, I can't say that I'm done with it. I think maybe, I'm missing something.
In the part where I'm like pissed off and I'm determined now. I want to fucking, I want to crush the red mage boss, which is where I'm at now, and he's fucking. But just because I'm pissed, right? Like I just want to fucking want to do it. Like, and I don't
ideally
want to
for me,
casual,
like
but
this will fucking for me, like it'll be a success if it turns out that I'm just a fucking idiot, and there's something you're supposed to be doing, that
like
I'm
missing something.
You know what I mean?
I always think
if it's trying to explain something to me and I'm too dumb to see it, like that's cool, man. But if it literally just is supposed to be a battle of attrition, like a wiffle bat fight, like a Destiny style, like
maybe
bullet sponge thing, man,
maybe
that's not cool. I'm not down for that at all. That's terrible. And you know what? Either way. Even if it does play out like that, I think there's a strong case to me. Anyways, I'm going to get to that after. So that was my experience with this. Incredibly frustrated. Put it down after fucking a couple of hours of trying. Having nowhere to grind. It just felt totally...
Yeah,
well, you have to go way out of your way to fucking...
I played last night, and it was one of the times where I basically retried the boss, probably 16 times. So after, I don't know, I'm just throwing a fucking number out there. But it was, at least fucking 10 maybe. And by the end of an hour and a half, 2 hours I've been playing, I felt like I did nothing because I wasn't grinding. I was just restarting it. I wasted all that time. I did nothing, right? I was like, what the fuck? Yeah. All I did was try and sort of rejig my jobs and the classes and fucking equipment and everything, just try and get whatever kind of stupid advantage I could get, to fucking play against his weakness. But the red mage, which I'm stuck at now, is fucking ridiculous because once he gets to halfway, he starts healing himself, and every time he does 2,000 heal HP a pop, right? Just heals, and it's like, fuck.
Is there some way to counter that? There must be a counter for that. You have to silence him or something,
You know what? Maybe. I haven't fucking...
Do you have that spell? Does anybody have that?
I don't know. I gotta check.
See, that's the thing. Right now, I'm thinking of things that I'm like, sure, there should be a way to counter this, right?
Right, yeah.
But I don't have it in my repertoire at this time. Am I missing it, right?
I might have that, but I haven't checked.
There's little things like that,
I've tried. I've done...
That's why, the thing I'm trying to say is... in the very worst case scenario, this game is expecting you to go way out of your way just to meet the minimal sufficiency to get past
just to get
basic
through it,
shit. That's fucking ridiculous.
Drop it to casual, but I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, but even if it's not and it actually is logical, I'm trying to say well, we're gonna get back to that too. This is my experience with it, right? It was fucking a bit of a drag. I assume you had the same fucking one based on our conversation with
last night. Yeah, I mean the last couple of nights have kind of
precisely
for the most
because
part,
of that feeling that it's out of your control, right?
Yeah,
it's It's not like it doesn't. It's out of your control, and also it doesn't suit
we're even open to resorting to grinding. It's a JRPG. We're no strangers to fucking grinding out just regular battles. But you get fuck all XP, and then you get to the point where they run away from you because you're just over leveled.
You get 2 JP. It's not feasible to grind there.
No, it's not.
And the other fucking issue, I don't know if you feel this way too, is that I feel like with games like this, I talked in the past before about how maybe if you could describe metaphorically how Souls has a fucking progression style, and JRPGs do, with Souls. Versus JRPG, it's more like peaks and valleys, right? Up and down, up and down. It's doing lines of coke, one after the other. You have one, and you go down a bit, you got to do another. Ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. It's not like a progressive up.
Right, exactly.
You just have some mushrooms and it's building towards. JRPGs or even open world games, I feel, have more like a smooth, expansive progression, not peaks and valleys, right? And I think
even
a lot of that...
Bloodstain, and maybe Blasphemous.
Sure, even that too, yeah. And I think a lot of that...
Maybe not, because it's Souls-like, but anyway...
Yeah, maybe a bit closer to Souls-like than Bloodstain, but not quite so Souls-like that it's fucking busting your balls. You get there stuck for days or something.
Yeah.
But I think one of the main reasons for this is JRPGs are very much their mode of introducing you to their universe involves doing it through people on the ground all the time. You know what I mean? It involves like fucking a lot of personalized storytelling in a way that's still better than Western games manages to fucking not be about people in the end of the day. You know, everybody's always like a fucking archetypal figure, even though they have personalities. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's essential that you fucking engage with the world and the characters in a fucking game like that, right? You don't go these long stretches of fucking engagement-free gameplay that are sheerly about like managing fucking, you know, numbers and stuff like that. At least not without wanting to, you know, trying to grind between essential elements, right? Like, I feel
it goes
like
against the story and what they're trying to, you know,
I
put
feel
out
like,
there.
man, I do these fights in Bravely, and by the time I beat the guy, I don't even remember his fucking name or what his
dude,
conflict with my
I'm stuck in
party
that-
was. You know
I'm
what I mean?
stuck
Like,
in that right now because I've tried this boss like probably at least 30 times or so, and it's like I don't even know what the like the area we're in.
You just
too
are so
is
lost.
cool, but it's like so like I'm so like disillusioned and
no,
like,
I really feel that too.
deluded to it.
It really takes
I
away
just
from
want to
that.
get the fuck past.
That's
it
why
so I
like
continue,
I
right?
much prefer like almost that it's trivial, the combat, and just fucking you get through the game and
Probably,
it's fun. Like in Dragon Quest 11, you know, I don't think I died like a couple of times in that whole fucking
I
game, bro.
struggled only by the end.
I think I just grinded too much, maybe, but
Maybe it
I don't
did.
know.
By
I
the end
min-maxed
of the game,
everything.
I struggled with the final boss.
But that's what I mean. Like
But
that
that
game,
was
man,
it. That was it, really.
The
'cause
progression was mint,
I know it was
bro.
underleveled
It was
for sure.
It was so mint. Every time you go to camp, you have the opportunity to go to the little forge and min-max the stats
Oh,
on your
fuck, I
weapon.
did
It just
so
encourages
much
you
of
to
that,
casually like upgrade things and just take care of it.
At
you
your
know?
own pace,
Yeah.
however it works.
It made
you
it
know?
like really easy to do that kind of stuff.
That's
This
true,
game feels
yeah.
like, what the fuck, bro? I just want to grind. And I got to walk back to town. I got to take the cart back there. I got to fucking go try and figure out which one of these dungeons has enemies I can actually fight. Like, it's just not... It's not pleasant by the end of it, you know?
Maybe it's too classic of a JRPG.
In
Who
some
knows?
ways, I think it might be.
So how are we linking this to Blasphemous? Which is funny because you've been playing it last night and I saw that. So I downloaded the demo because I didn't want to commit. Only because, not because I don't want to buy the game. I definitely want to buy it. But I just like, I still want to try and get through Bravely. So I'm not really, eager to jump into something else yet. But I played the demo just to fuck around. I thought it was pretty cool, man. I
Yeah,
kind
man.
of fucking
I like
really
it too.
like it.
I like Blasphemous a lot. I think I talked a little bit about it in the past, but one of the things I noticed was my experience was similarly frustrating. You know, it's a difficult game. Like you see me as I'm playing it here, like I failed at this fucking same task like a bunch of times.
Yeah.
5 or 6 already because of the same enemy. Look
Oh,
at
you
that.
just
See?
ran into the spikes.
I just accidentally dodged into the spikes,
killed
just instant
himself.
kills you.
Nice.
So, you know, it's incredibly frustrating. Like, you're like, fuck, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I hope my microphone wasn't on there because I was definitely fucking, getting a bit pissed off. But at the end of the day, after fucking going through hours of this here, trying to complete the fucking requirements for the true ending, and after beating a couple of bosses on the same day, that I struggled it for a good half an hour. You can see all of my attempts. The actual fight took less than 4 minutes, but my attempts were like a good half hour
Yeah.
plus. I died like good 10, 15 times,
I noticed that.
But I walked away from this game saying to myself, holy fuck, that was incredible,
Right?
Such a fucking sense of satisfaction, Such an incredible sense that even when I was fucking losing, like, the only thought I had was how I wanted to go back in just so I could try and fucking get that fucking parry perfect, right? Or dodge at exactly the right time, Like, you always know exactly what the course is, and when you fail, it's on you because you're a bitch, Because you suck. You didn't do it right. And you you watch yourself get better.
That's
You're
true.
like, okay, I'm doing it. You get
Very
closer to
different,
the end.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's still, again, subjectively, the feeling of it is exactly the same. This is the remarkable part that I'm trying to call attention to, okay? It's equally frustrating,
It's equally frustrating, but I
Yes.
feel like the sensation is totally not
I think, like,
the same at all.
subjectively it's the same, but intellectually we understand, in one case, that it very much is against the fucking inner logic of the thing. It obfuscates Bravely's fucking story and all of the components you sign in for. Whereas here, it exactly expresses the thematic fucking nature of its whole universe, just in fucking short form. Blasphemous, it's like this fucking fantasy appropriation of, like, look at that.
Oh my
medieval, like,
God,
fucking
you just-
Catholic fucking imagery and worldview, and it's got this fucking whole thing where, like, this fucking guy who's supposed to be this boy, he was supposed to be like a Christ figure, like, he prayed to fucking the equivalent of God to fucking have enlightenment and freedom from guilt, and he was, like, fucking turned into a tree, and, like, after that, like, fucking the will of that God fucking starts moving between the fucking tree and the fucking high will, and it's like this Trinitarian fucking thing, and it's this
What
constant
the
cycle
fuck?
where, like, fucking people are united to the fucking to the miracle and the Father and to God through fucking punishment and suffering and all this crazy shit, Just to say, you feel like you're the character when you're fucking losing and getting your ass handed to you in this game.
Yeah.
It's not very much not against, like, you're not here to engage with dialogue and fucking explore conversation and have peaceable moments with your party, et cetera, et cetera. Like, your mode of engagement
You're here
with
to be
the world is
punished
very
and-
much like, you're supposed to feel in that manner, right? Like, and even then, it's still less frustrating than Bravely, but I just feel like it's a good expression of the game's ontology and metaphysic, right? Like, the world that, as it exists and as they depict it to you, is as you feel when you're playing it. You know, it's not supposed to be a fucking depiction of
There's definitely no
of like
fucking-
facile pleasantries,
No
right?
fucking
Like,
ludo-narrative dissonance
I
going on.
really don't think so. Yeah, like, exactly,
Right? Like,
exactly,
holy
buddy,
shit.
exactly. Whereas you know, in Bravely Default, you definitely get the sense that like the progression
You
doesn't
get out
suit
of
it.
it,
It's not.
yeah.
It's not. It doesn't express. You know,
It
in the
pulls
way
you
that
out,
in the way
right?
that fucking you're supposed to walk with your feet and fucking clap with your hands. It feels like Bravely's trying to fucking clap with its feet, right? Mm-hmm. In a way, right? You know,
that's a funny way
Just
to
to say
put it.
like they're the same action in both cases, but it's not done fucking by the right agent, and therefore it seems incongruous with the whole, right? Here, like fucking not only fictionally, like in terms of its fucking, you know, and ontologically in terms of the world it's presenting to you, but even generically, like this is the kind of genre that it is. Like this is the kind of game you're playing. You go into
Right,
Souls like
yeah.
to Metroidvania, you're supposed to fucking learn the fights progressively, and you know, even in terms of how this progression relates to the mechanics, like the moment-to-moment loop. You know what I mean? The moment-to-moment loop in a fucking JRPG is again it's fucking, you know, it's dealing with menus and shit like that, bro. There's no opportunity for you to fucking revise that loop on your side without doing mechanical adjustments on the side of the game, right?
Right,
Whereas in
yeah.
a game like this, the loop fucking, though it's identical, your actions and your fucking aptitude with the fucking game change everything, you know? The same scenario becomes fucking radically different based on your skill level, right? Whereas
Right,
if you're
right.
playing the JRPG,
It has
you know,
nothing
it's not
to do
dependent
with
on that at all.
yeah.
It's all on the side of the system, right? It's all symbolic. It's more symbolic on your end. It's not circumscriptive like we described in the past. So I think like,
Which
you
is
know,
fucked. I mean, to
it's,
your
I
point,
love
right?
gameplay like that, but what I'm trying to say is
There's no reason for it to hold you back, right?
exactly
Like, to resist
because the
Why?
resistance fucking its inner logic is that fucking you in the person of the fucking
Yeah,
game.
like unless it's like,
yeah.
like
Yeah.
you know, we've seen so many times in like an area you're not supposed to be in yet. You know,
Sure,
then
sure.
obviously
no, it's
you're being
instructive in that case. Of
exactly
course, right?
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
but I think like again with the Souls, like the progression style is fucking peaks and valleys. You know, it's very much like the nature of these games to fucking explicate like the nature of reality via your fucking struggles with it. You know, this like fucking bipolarity of reality where it's fucking struggling against itself. Like the fucking implication that for the creature, which is finite, to progress, it needs to fucking transgress itself and suffer in some capacity, right? Like that's the inner logic of Souls games. It's fucking their
that's the whole-
fictional
yeah.
element. It's their mechanical element. Like it's very much a fucking, it's very much like this synchronicity between the mechanics and the fucking concept, you know? And when you play fucking something like Bravely, see how I did that there? It was so fucking crazy on the very last bit of my health bar, and you walk away feeling great, right? Like,
just did
Yeah.
it by the skin of your ass,
Yeah.
dude. That's perfect. That's good.
but not because you figured out some fucking arbitrary combination of numbers or letters or fucking menu manipulation, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why, like, I truly do feel like
maybe
if the thing resists you, it should resist your mind. It should resist your skill. It shouldn't resist your fucking time, you know, just merely because you haven't invested.
I have like a slight counter to this point, maybe.
Sick,
maybe.
that's sick.
There have been times, especially in a game like Bravely Default, where there's so much customization with your jobs, equipment, blah, blah, blah. And especially because there's also the auto optimize, which will just set your equipment and you can go in and pick different stuff that will, you know, accentuate a different skill, whatever. Anyway, you can prioritize like attack or magic attack. Anyways, there have been certain times where I've experimented with builds and like have just gotten squeaked through a boss by the skin of my ass. Like that kind of lens to the
Yeah.
same thing you're saying with like a Souls kind of combat,
Yeah,
right?
like,
But-
that's what I
but
mean
it-
before. Like, I would like to see that. Maybe
But-
I'm wrong. I haven't fucking explored it enough really to be able
Yeah.
to say definitively.
That's the only way it could like
Yeah.
counter that, right?
It
but
just feels
I mean,
like
I'm
from
doing
where-
that now, and I'm at the point where I've gone into this red mage boss like 50 times.
It could be because we're
Like-
early in the game and all the things aren't unlocked yet.
Yeah.
You know, we're not able to fully access the systems, but, you know.
Still a valid.
I would like
fucking,
it. That way it would be quite like fucking this challenges your fucking moment-to-moment
Where, like,
reflexes. That
I've-
challenges your fucking ability to strategize, right? Like, I would say
Yeah.
it's equivalent in that
Right,
case, right?
right.
Like, that would be the best case scenario. But what I don't like is this almost like, it's almost like It's almost like your fucking
fucking
experience
stuck.
is money, and it just wants you to get rich before you can progress. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You just literally have to put in the labor. That's what it wants from you, bro. That's depressing. That's intolerable
fucked
to
up.
me. Like, I can't stand that kind of thing in video games. That's against the spirit of leisure, bro. You know what I mean? Like, it's against
That's
the
why I
spirit
never
of beauty in
understood
video
like
games.
games like truck simulator thing and
See,
farming
like,
simulator. Like
I think that's why I never understood MMOs. Like, fucking
Yeah,
to play,
same.
you know, or people who say they want to do their Destiny chores and shit like that, right? Like, that's
Yeah,
That's-
see,
that's
like the only
heresy,
way
you know?
I
Like-
could almost understand that if it was like a social thing, which it probably is for those games, but at the same time, like
Yeah,
maybe
like
it's
I
not.
mean,
Maybe
maybe you
people
would,
just
maybe it's
do it. Like,
beautiful
I don't-
to you.
I don't know.
Good for you. But what I'm trying to say is, if for you it's literally a laborious task, that's not. You know,
Yeah.
If literally it takes your labor, your time,
Oh, I
and
understand.
translates it to
Yeah,
some metric
That's
experience.
why the only
you know?
way I see it is if it's like if you're engaging with friends doing
Yeah.
it or something, which like I don't know.
That's why, like, think about
You're
though how flimsy
working
this
with
gets,
friends.
buddy. This is why, like, I'm trying to say, like, this kind of shit is cheap. It's not good progression because think
Yeah,
about it. You know?
definitely not.
You're not saying I want to fucking. You know, when you talk about playing a game, you're like, I want to beat this guy. I want to
Mm-hmm.
do this thing in the game. You're speaking in the language of somebody in the world of the game. You know, I
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
accomplish. I want to fight this boss and block or attack, et cetera, et cetera. Like you
Yeah,
are speaking in
yeah.
the term of the guy. When you're saying,
I did
yeah,
my Destiny
I want
chores.
to
You're
accumulate
fucking-
9 million experience and get a perfect roll on my X or Y.
You're
What
like-
are you doing?
you're
Like, do you see how we
fucking- oh, God.
transgressed the fourth wall and we're literally just
God.
dealing with external metrics that have nothing to do with the fucking game anymore? You know?
Oh,
That's what I
God.
mean. It's awful,
It's
bad.
bad.
It's
It's
like a
like-
nominalist fucking substitute
like it-
for art.
oh,
You know? It's
God.
it's hideous. Yeah, I don't like it
Yeah,
at all.
dude, every day at work, a buddy comes in who I just recently got into playing Bloodborne, and he comes in every day and, like, updates me on his progress, or, like, where he is, or, like, how, like, one day he came in and was like, oh, I got my ass kicked last night, I did nothing, no progress, and then the next fucking couple days later, it's like, I'm fucking near the end, I crushed it, dude, and it's, like, cool to hear that, right? It's
Bloodborne.
sick, right? Like, he's getting, like, that same high, like that.
I feel when people
right?
talk about Bloodborne like that Michael Scott meme, you know, where he's like, Entourage, you know? Bloodborne.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, it's a totally different thing than, like, just fucking, you know, like you're saying, like, a Destiny chores. Oh, I played Destiny with my buddies on the weekend or whatever.
But specifically, like, think of how, in one case, your action is semiotic. It's like fucking representative of something. And in the other, you're literally admitting bold-facedly that what you're doing is bloating a number. You
Yeah.
know?
Like,
It's not. It's
you're-
like the game took a break. Now you're doing this other thing, some
Yeah,
accounting task,
yeah.
tangential to the
It's
actual.
like you got a job in the game.
You know what I
now,
mean?
and
Like,
you're
what the
just
fuck is
fucking-
that?
you're
Ah,
leaving
that's why.
work to
Oh,
go
bro.
back to work.
Like,
in
of
the
course, all
fucking-
games involve numerical. That's how you. There's always math in the background.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking.
Definitely.
Obviously, that's the case. But what I'm trying to say is the act of symbolizing is exactly what makes it a fucking work of art, and not accounting. You know, you can't just give up on that. Be like, oh, okay, we're done. The progression is a number now. Like, what the fuck? You know?
That's
what the
true,
fuck?
eh? That's always been like the end game for looters, because what do you do once? Like, how do you you can't make unlimited content, right?
Yeah.
So you make unlimited loot drops
That's.
with RNG and
I
right?
hate that.
random
I hate
number
that so much.
bullshit,
That's why I was
yeah.
saying I want Outriders to fail because I hate that kind of game design.
I agree 100%. I would have fucking said this.
I think it's a
back
travesty.
as far back
It's
as
literally like
fucking
if you think about it,
2016 or
it's
something.
like the same fucking kinds of problem. Like I don't fucking want to get too tangential, but like literally
Right.
this is fucking the exact same
Par
fucking
for the
era of
course.
like bad philosophies or fucking even Marxism or capitalism that think like
Just
you can
going in
fucking
the
take
wrong
some
direction.
some
Yeah.
fucking flat metric, you know, and symbolize all things with it, right? Your
Yeah.
power in this game, which in a game would like this would like
It's
Blasphemous,
based on
I'm pointing at the
one
screen,
number.
like it would take account your fucking skill by fucking all of the complex things involved in your moment-to-moment reactions. Here, it's your fucking number. You know
Number,
what I mean? It's
yeah.
like in the same way you could say money represents a
Money,
cow and
yeah,
a fucking
yeah.
bar of gold. Like how? It just equivocates, right? It doesn't really. It's only fucking violently and artificially blending them together into a concept that doesn't really represent either. In the same way, the number, what does it represent that you're fighting for and bloating, you know? What the fuck does it have to do with Destiny? It's like a Destiny flavored accounting tax at the end of the
Oh,
day, right?
fuck.
Like, and
TurboTax
I'm speaking as somebody
2021.
who just spent like the other week like $100 on the complete Destiny 2 package.
you-
just like I
yeah.
love Destiny. I'm just saying,
You're not slandering
dude, if you
Destiny,
could
for
play it
sure.
like if you could take every fucking MMO and instead make a soul style progression where like of course they have numbers, but it's not this fucking hamster wheel. It's
not-
supposed to be like a
it's not
symbolic
in the
metric
forefront,
of
right?
completeness, right? Like,
It's more in the background,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah. But like you see how it's like they make it into a fucking stable, progressive fucking arc, right? Like I like the Bloodborne fucking example or Sekiro because, you know, you need the blood rock to upgrade your sword all the way. The game gives it to you, and you're like thinking to yourself, fucking, this is how my weapon should be going. Like,
Right.
it's built in, it's baked in. It's not this fucking arbitrary, floaty, extrinsic number, right? The game is justifying it to you fictionally, internally, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that can be manipulated per fucking stage with difficulties and like all kind of. Yeah, it's just the fucking.
what does that have to do? That's just, dude, you're just fucking putting some other shit behind
That's what I
the
mean
game.
about the
That has
social
nothing to do with
aspect.
the
The only
game.
thing
Yeah.
that carries shit like nobody would play these games if it wasn't for,
Yeah.
you know, playing with a friend or something. I can't imagine. I don't know. Then again,
think
like
so.
Diablo 2 was hugely successful. Were those games multiplayer back in? I don't.
They
fuck.
did have some, yeah.
They had some kind of
did.
right. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a huge Diablo 2 fan. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't care.
Other
about
games
any of
have
the
like
Diablo
number
games.
scores and shit too, like traditional RPGs.
I mean, it's in every game basically.
But I
Yeah.
think like what justifies a fucking looter is that they design it with a fucking amount of content that would be considered quite limited in a fucking traditional game.
Right.
Unless you're talking about at the end of the fucking expansion periods where they have like 50 expansions that cost you $200 maybe, but and then you're fucking expected to replay those same parts over and
Oh,
over again
fuck,
to
yeah.
fucking increase your number, bro. You know?
Fuck that.
Yeah, it's I don't like that very much at all. So, you know, that's a good example too because probably your failure in those instances has a lot to do with, like, don't get me wrong, Destiny's a great game and it has skill involved too. You know,
Yeah,
and a lot of the progression, like, you don't have to dabble in any of the shit I'm saying right now. It's literally not necessary at all. You can just go fucking have a great time, bro.
Yeah,
go
like,
run
you
through
could
the playlist.
play-
You don't have to give a fuck about none of that shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You can play as casually as you want. It's a beautiful fucking setup now. It's a great machine. I really like it.
Yeah, but hold on, because I remember when I first started Destiny 2 was closer to when it launched, and there's a totally different opening than what you're playing now. Like,
Yeah,
how does
yeah.
that work?
I think like that. It's as though the world
I like
is
the
alive.
first
you can
one
consider
better,
it like
though.
you can consider it though like actually like a, you know, like
Not-
Azeroth in World of Warcraft. Like it's just it's progressing. Like it is where it is now. You know, you can replay the story, but this is where it is now, right?
Okay, but I can go back and play like
I think you can play all of the fucking Destiny 2 stories. You can even play them at different difficulties to get loot that's level
Right,
to your
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
You can do anything and it'll just drop for you until you get to the soft cap when you have to do certain activities to
Okay.
progress your gear score, right? But that's the point where I'll probably clock off when I start getting, you know?
yeah.
I love playing that game, man. I fucking wish it
I
was
mean,
like
they have a cool world. They have like really
great
you know,
mechanics, great world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. If they made like an arcane style, like fucking 25 hour shooter story thing, and they have the fucking tech already, how cheap would it be for them to do that? You know, it would cost
That's
them
true.
fucking nothing, and they'd sell so much.
It all depends on the return, though. If it's not worth it, they're not gonna. Fuck. I don't know. Like, you know, the Arcane's still at it. They're making Deathloop. What the fuck does Deathloop look like to you? Nothing. I don't
Then
know.
again,
It's
though, they're fucking tending towards multiplayer and fucking whatnot. with
Yeah,
them,
that's
And randomness and-
true. We still don't know how it'll play out, though. I mean, I don't know. Did you might have looked into it more than me as like an Arcane fan, but I haven't really.
Not really. I'm gonna play it though either way. I like.
I mean, yeah,
Arcane.
I'll play it for sure.
I think they're a good studio.
I kind of want to go back and play Prey. Prey is.
Oh,
one
I haven't
wanna
played that
play.
too. I
wanna
want to play that
Prey,
also, man.
Yeah.
I went back last year when the quarantine started, and I played. I finished Dishonored 2. I was happy I did that. It was very good.
So now you finished 1 and 2, right?
There's like Death of the Outsider, that like expansion.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then
Did
there's
you ever
Prey.
play that fucking moon thing? What? Oh no, that was on Prey. Sorry.
Oh no,
Prey
I
had
didn't.
some
Yeah,
fucking
It was the
DLC.
procedural one though.
Yeah, it was procedural.
Yeah,
You're
no,
right.
I never played that. Yeah. I want to play Prey 2 though. That's a good one. I fucking
Yeah.
never think of that. You know. Right now, I'm gonna focus on this one and on finishing fucking Resident Evil and trying to fucking do Bravely. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already 20 hours into Bravely, so I'm gonna try and keep going through that,
Yeah.
slogging my way through.
I love JRPGs, man. I
Same,
love
that's
the
the
music.
thing,
I love
right?
the
Yeah,
I love
everything.
the worlds. Like I said last week, I fucking
The
love
music gets me
the
the
fucking
most.
world building. It's naivety.
Mhm.
You know, it's so fucking perfect, man.
They always
It's-
have, you know, symphony soundtracks, beautiful fucking. That's what gets me the best, like the most fucking
You know what I
just
fucking
crazy music.
yeah, definitely, man. It sticks in your head too.
Yeah,
I
oh,
hear
yeah.
when I'm sleeping.
I
Like,
listen to it at work because I can't
dun,
fucking
dun,
like.
dun,
Oh
dun,
my
dun.
god, I hear it when
Yeah.
I'm sleeping. Yeah, like.
I love like the fucking, you know, I can't believe I'm even gonna say such a thing, but like fucking, I love how like the world as they depict it, it like calls for that kind of like personable fucking relationship between the party. You know what I mean? The party as you see it is almost like when you watch like a sitcom like The Office or like fucking Parks and Rec or even that fucking Superstore one there where there's like this human warmth and closeness that you not gonna have since high school ended. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it's those like little groups that aren't really thrown together, but you recognize the authenticity of that that sort of structure, right?
Yeah, that's
it's
like
a callback to
that's
some
the party,
yeah,
right? That's
yeah.
the thing.
The
right?
party,
So,
yeah. There's some fundamental the fellowship, you know.
Mm-hmm.
classic digs, man. I love that shit. I fucking,
Oh,
yeah,
same.
it just
I'm the same way,
reverberates with
dude.
me.
Like,
I'm never gonna get tired of that, right?
Yeah.
It's a universal at the end of the day, It's
Yeah.
like the apostles. It's like the party of fucking, people got shit to do.
I wonder how Final Fantasy 16 is gonna handle that. There's a lot of
can't wait to
rumors
play
going
that.
around that it'll be like more single action, like character focused, right? Like Devil May Cry. I don't believe that, but I don't know. We'll
Honestly,
see.
I
We'll
don't
see.
care. I'm fucking.
Oh, I don't give a
I'm
fuck
gonna be
either
happy
way,
either
yeah.
way. Yeah. At this point, like
curious,
the
right?
more experimental they get with it, even if they made a full-on action game, I'd be happy. I don't care. How many? Square is fucking definitely churning out the traditional JRPGs.
Square's
right?
done everything. They have their hand in almost every kind of
I think
game.
I'd be
They
pretty
can
disappointed at this
competently
point,
make
actually,
anything.
bro, if they went back and made like a traditional Final Fantasy if Final Fantasy 16 was a Dragon Quest 11 style RPG, that would be kind of lame,
Yeah, probably.
That's not.
Yeah.
I think that would be kind of against the whole fucking logic of that series, really,
yeah,
and how they've
Final
been taking
Fantasy.
it this whole time. Like,
That's true.
I would not be down for that at all. I think it's just like with politics. Like I'm fucking not down with like modernity, but I'm definitely not down with fucking revivalism either. Like you just want to turn back the clock and like
Yeah.
revive old shit. Like
There
no,
clearly
man.
is, something better
gotta
in
fucking
the
take
middle of
what's
everything.
new.
Yeah.
And take what's old and fucking abstract the parts
Find-
of those and
find
build
the
something
best
else,
way,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah, exactly, yeah. I don't know, but at the end of the day,
Fucking,
I actually had a point to make after all this, and like what I really wanted to fucking say, and I think I can do it fucking briefly, is that what this speaks to, man, ultimately this fucking fact that you can play two things, have the same subjective and emotional experience, and then at the end walk away thinking one is incredible and the other is shit.
yeah, because
this-
we came away with similar feelings from, me playing Bravely and you playing Bravely and Blasphemous. How did you come away from playing both, right?
Well, see, the thing...
Kind of shitty?
Well, I walked away fucking feeling the same from both, but I think one is brilliant, and one, I think that the progression, as I said, doesn't suit it. And I think the difference
Right.
is this, right? Like, at the end of the day, we have to be a realist. We have to be realist about video game concepts or essences. You know what I mean? We can't just say the thing is just a fucking bunch of random shit floating around on a screen that only becomes something whole when it enters my mind. We can't, it's not a normative thing. Your mind doesn't assign the meaning to it. Before you
Yeah.
see it, just like any fucking, if you believe in organisms in the world, it's exactly like that, right? The thing's meaning pre-exists your interpretation of it. I'm trying to say, like, when the guy who fucking makes it conceives it, it's born. It has a determinate form, and whatever he plants it in, whatever software or fucking medium of explanation, like, it already has its fucking inner logic and inborn tendencies, which mean that ultimately one mode or another of progression will be more appropriate,
Right.
It's not a matter of whether or not we enjoy it, even at the end of the day.
Yeah, like
And
your
it just goes to show that
subjective-
even beauty is not a matter of enjoyment, right? Like sometimes even fucking miserable things are beautiful. Like Schindler's List is not a fucking fun movie to watch. You know what I mean?
no, it's
but
not.
it's a beautiful
But it's
movie.
beautiful. Same
right?
with
Like,
Life is Beautiful.
Sure.
Oh,
Just to say
God.
again, like
Yeah.
you appreciate intuitively most people that the kind of dynamic we're fucking reaching for here, but it just goes to show that fucking your fucking enjoyment of it is not what defines its fucking coherence, its integrity. It's rather that fucking artistic works, just like fucking species of animals, have determinate forms. They're not fucking from nature. They're born in the mind of a guy, but nonetheless, once the guy conceives them, the thing has a determinate form or structure. And
Yeah, and if that's uncompromised and unfucked with and pure to what it's supposed to be, then
I think too it's interesting that pop book that we were talking about, the dialectic of pop there,
Dialectic of
it's
Pop.
not just fucking Aristotelian philosophy that uses this concept of artistic form. Like this lady who wrote this dialectic of pop book, she fucking is talking about in a totally different philosophic sense, or from a totally different philosophic angle, but in the same sense, I mean to say, the concept of philosophic form, the thing behind the concept of artistic form, the thing behind the sensible parts,
which
the thing
is
behind
crazy
the
because
characteristics.
I would have never even considered pop to have any kind of artistic.
Yeah, I think
fucking-
too, though.
Like,
Yeah,
for
that
me,
that
like,
really to me
pop
was really
is
like a
and always was just a fucking
yeah.
generator of fucking money just
Yeah.
to sell.
Yeah.
And maybe
I think maybe
Maybe
that's
she's
true,
making a
but also
case.
her point is still valid. That's
yeah,
the
exactly.
scary
That's what
part
I'm
at the
saying.
end of
Yeah,
the day,
she's making.
you know?
Yeah, that's
It really makes
scary,
me
yeah.
like. I love when you fucking are like, oh fuck. But
it's
I think
cool
I was
that-
wrong about that shit.
Yeah,
It's
it's cool that like you can
Yeah.
look at it and kind of open your eyes to
Yeah.
wait, maybe we can open people's eyes to
Yeah.
another way for video games, right?
But in the same way, though, I really want to emphasize things have, irrespective of your perception of it, a form. And what that means, again, is behind, what you see and touch and feel, there's a fucking structure. It doesn't mean a substance, like a chunk. You know what I mean? It means like a process, a holistic fucking thing moving in the same direction and orienting like a fucking assemblage, whatever word you want to grab. People don't like the word substance.
Yeah, like the only thing I can
to
think
them
of,
like
how to compare it is like
an organic whole body,
let's say you're
like a body.
Like if you're thinking of like a conventional fucking like review and you have the parts that are graded, but then like the final score, that's what basically you're talking about. Let's say, right? Like the
Well, I guess I'm trying to say like outside of your fucking perception of it, the game is a fucking. It has a form. Like it's the thing you play is like your fucking access to its species, its essence.
But like,
you know,
I guess like comparing like Blasphemous and Bravely, what we're
Yeah.
trying to say is that like you can unbiasedly say like one is better than the other, right?
well, not
In some
necessarily
sense,
one
or-
is better, but what I'm trying to get at with this is that because what they are is independent of our perception of them, there are certain types of things, and therefore they have certain exigencies, right? Like just like I said before, hands are for fucking touching and feet are for walking, right? Like
Right.
you can do some walking with both of them, but the task is appropriate to one and not the other. You know what I
Right.
mean? Once we admit the thing has a determinate nature, a determinate form, it follows that certain sorts of stuff is appropriate to it, right? It has certain properties, you know? And in this spirit, I'm saying fucking smooth progression suits JRPGs and fucking rough progression suits Souls-likes. It's part of the fucking concept.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's our basis for saying this, because I don't invent. My feeling about the game is not what justifies its goodness or badness or its beauty, right? Even
Right,
if I'm
right.
having the same shitty experience with both games, one of them is
That's-
good
yeah,
when I'm
that's
having
the
a shitty
universal.
time because of the form that it has, and one is bad because its form is not supposed to be that way. It's not my opinion of its form. That's based on public meaning that you or I can all access, right? Public meaning of a JRPG. The genre is, and this game is fucking about this personable experience between blah, 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 blah. But then you get stuck for 4 hours on the fucking boss. You don't even remember what your party
What
was
the
doing
fuck
at that
is
point.
going on.
Totally
Yeah,
obfuscates
that-
the point of
yeah,
it, right?
that-
It feels like they just decided they
shit.
wanted to make it challenging for fucking nerds to not complain about it on N4G or something like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the
maybe,
day.
yeah.
So in that spirit, I mean to say, there's public meaning. Like things have an essence. Like a flower, before a scientist measures it, it's still a fucking flower. You know what I mean? And a game in its, you know, the guy who thinks of its head and later when it's born into a physical artifact, it is a certain kind of game and therefore demands a certain kind of progression, a certain kind of fucking aesthetic, blah, blah, blah. And of course there's things that can be changed in the same way that a flower can be blue or fucking white without necessarily changing its status as a flower. Like, I'm not trying to say all fucking aspects of everything are deterministic and they follow necessarily from the thing, but progression is exactly one of those kinds of things. Progression is like the health of your body, you know what I mean, in relation to the game. It's not trivial. It's not something you can just change like the color of your t-shirt, you know what I mean? It's actually the mode of delivery of the universe practically, right?
Yeah, and so think about it, like some of the most jarring fucking feelings in a game would be when that's totally fucking
Exactly.
janked up,
It's-
right?
it's
like
it
people
fucking
try and
screws up the
people try and
delivery
talk about
method, yeah.
ludonarrative dissonance and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and
Probably
and
a lot
that
of it
feels,
has to do with that.
Yeah, that feels more reaching, but like, yeah, that's a very real fucking thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, the delivery of the fucking, you know. That's why fuck MMOs and even looter games for the most part. I've never been a fan. And I'm not even as opposed to like multiplayer. Like I play bullshit like Battlefield multiplayer. I play Call of Duty multiplayer. I've played all that multiplayer shit growing up for like my whole life, but I could never get around like looter. Like for me, multiplayer is like PvP. You know, I don't like PvE multiplayer, if that makes sense. You know, I guess maybe I'm stubborn. Like I grew up with like the distinction between, you know, we always had our single player games that were like PvE shit, and like, okay, I guess you can incorporate like co-op, and not that I'm against that, but when games started coming out and they were focused on multiplayer, but PvE multiplayer, and that was like the focus, that for me like broke it.
Yeah.
Because like for the most part for me, like multiplayer is competitive. You fucking compete against other dudes, like playing the game. That was it for me, right? Fuck. And then single player is the, you know, PvE where it's player versus enemy, there's story, this, that, fucking, you know, regular ass progression, not fucking bullshit looter stuff, right? I don't know if that's worth making a distinction there, but
Sorry, I'm gonna fucking Boris just telling me somebody dropped off beer
problem.
for me.
Got some beer deliveries. We can wrap up anyway. Just never really fucking put it into that perspective that like as soon as games started focusing not just on having multiplayer as well, but like having it be a fucking thing that you play, like co-op games, right? Like that was like the focus.
Yeah.
Then they turned into sort of like mindless, like, oh, we'll just inject fucking loot into it and fucking, you know, make it like a Diablo. You play with your friends and you fucking.
I think just like
Destiny.
in relation to the stuff we were just saying, buddy, the perfect fucking key for understanding all this stuff is exactly the same thing.
Which is what?
Got your masks on, boys? People busting my balls. What's up, man? We got now. What was that? One scope of I think, though, just like anything else, all of these fucking things are dissolved. This whole tension, all of these knots are unraveled when we just consider it in this light. Like, what's fucking wrong with implementing things like microtransactions, multiplayer where it doesn't need to be, open worlds? It's because these don't comport with the inner logic of the game you're applying them to. You're applying them due to the logic of something like capital, something like market
Economics,
forces demanding it, right? Or fucking what have you, Patrick, whatever the fuck's daughter likes it or some shit, right? Like, you know? Some meathead shit that has nothing to do with the inner logic of the game. Anytime you fucking go in and you say, nah,
anytime
you don't matter.
From the point,
the game is the fucking point, you know? And honestly, man, this has nothing to do. That's why when you see people like say things like, I'm sorry, like fucking, I would say I don't mean to be rude, but I always mean to be rude.
you
know?
Prick.
Fucking, I don't give a fuck if you enjoy it. When people say things like, you should let people enjoy the game the way they want. No, the game should be enjoyed the way the game
way the
wants.
Creator
Do you not
intended.
believe? Honestly, like in the way the game intends itself. We ought to speak that way.
Okay,
because
fair.
once it's shat out of the guy, his fucking opinion doesn't matter either.
Yeah,
the public meaning of the text. Like, it's not even like, I'm not making it up. The thing is something outside of your mind. It's out in the world. You really mean to purport like just utter subjectivity about it, that there's no fact of the matter? There utterly, absolutely fucking is. We're both here fucking talking about it.
Yep.
You really want to get deep into it, I'm fucking happy to. Fucking shoot me a fucking
how
text,
deep
bro.
I can go, but
Not you. I'm just saying, like, anybody who wants to. I'm fucking available. Like, seriously. I don't think I'm good for anything else in the whole world, you know? So
he's right about that.
That is the fucking fact of the matter. There is some public meaning to the text.
Yeah.
So whether or not you like it, what matters is
doesn't mean it's good or bad or
no. The goodness or badness of it is measured in terms of whether or not its fucking total fucking elements comport with its inner logic, you know? Even if it makes you feel like shit, even if it's not accessible to you. Should every book be readable by me? Like, I don't understand most things in the world. Is that a slight against those things? That means I'm an idiot or I'm inadequate.
I sit beside you for fucking all kinds of time, and
think
I hardly
deeply about it, and you'll
understand
fucking realize how quickly this fucking attitude that everyone should be accessible to everybody is just another way of saying
scary,
everybody should be
man,
able to buy everything, you know?
Yeah.
This guy on fucking Twitter who was raging about this Fallujah game, which I agreed with him on, was today raging about how, like, not enough games, like, talk about Ramadan or something like that. Bro, I wish no games talked about Christmas. It's fucking disgusting how capitalism has taken my religion and prostituted it into a Coca-Cola fucking scam, right? Like, who wants that? You really want, like, things to be accessible or open to your demographic? You want to be integrated into the machine? I sure as fucking shit don't. And I don't wish that even upon the worst video games in the world, never mind the ones I love. Which is just to say, once again, the only thing that matters is the internal consistency of the thing. Do its parts follow from its inner logic? You know, which again, I argue is publicly accessible, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's fair.
Nobody's going to fucking convince me that Blasphemous or Sekiro should have an easy mode. It literally would destroy the fucking purpose. The mechanics would no longer be congruous with the concept, you know? Maybe it would be fun for you, but it would destroy the thing as it ought to be. It would be like a body missing a leg and incapable of walking, right?
Man,
like the thing
I have
would not be
no
itself.
problem agreeing with that, and I still haven't beaten Sekiro, and not because
I put it down for a long time
I
because
tried.
it pissed me off, bro.
Yeah,
like, I'm telling you, like,
tough.
I definitely understand.
I know
It
I
is.
can probably do it, but it's fucking
It is tough. I put it down for a long time.
Yeah.
And I love it, you know?
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's fucking incredible. And, you know, it's also, like, it's impressive how fucking, you know, when you look at the actual mechanics they've integrated into that game and how well it works, you know?
But when I think back on my...
and how well tuned it feels, like it's fucking
My inability to
impressive,
to get through those things most of the time is due to my inability to deal with failure as a grown human being. You know, and I'm like,
That's
fuck
fair,
it.
yeah.
You
But
know?
at least you're like conscious of that and can
Yeah,
admit to
maybe.
it. The same for
But
me. Like, dude,
that's
I'm
why fucking Souls
the
are
first
great,
one to
man.
admit, I give up on it and I move on to
Sure,
Pokemon,
sure.
which you can just rail through Pokemon. And
That's why Souls is
whatever.
great. You know, I'm okay with being a failure,
Yeah.
but I don't want to fucking play a game that's like you'll fail until you invest the quantity of time required. Like what? You know, what is that?
Yeah.
That's awful. Like it's not. It shouldn't. It doesn't matter if it takes me 5 minutes
You
or
mean
5
in
hours.
terms of like grinding, like
Yes.
number stuff, not
literally
just,
like a labor equivalence.
Yeah,
Like it shouldn't
yeah,
be about
yeah.
that. Like if it takes me 5 hours,
not your
fine,
actual
but it's about
skill
my skill level, right?
improving,
Like,
yeah,
or
yeah.
something intrinsic to the fucking game.
That's
right?
fair.
Like,
That's why I like
not
multiplayer games too.
You know, sure, yeah.
PvP though.
That's
Can wreck fools online.
Yeah, I definitely get that. But fuck, maybe we should fucking cut her off. This is,
Yeah, it's
it's been fun, man. This has been good. We
Pull the
explored some
catheters.
interesting fucking areas of fucking video game discourse today that I'm sure nobody gives a shit about.
I know, and
except
it's
for us.
hilarious because it always
Yeah.
kind of goes back to like the end point, right? That the thing in itself, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be. Anyway, I'm
Yeah.
dumb, but
No, that's fucking, dude.
You know
That's
what I
literally
mean.
it. That's
You
literally
know
the
what I'm
only
trying to
point.
say.
The thing in itself is what matters. And of course, that doesn't mean to say it's perfectly fucking accessible and it's like geometry. You just look
Yeah.
at it and you know automatically what
or
it
that
is.
you'll even like it.
No, surely, yeah.
For whatever
but
reason.
Again, I don't want to sound like, firstly, it's difficult to understand the essence
Yeah.
or the concept of a thing. It takes work. But in some
true.
cases, at least generically, it's very clear. It's a Souls, like it's a JRPG. Its fucking story is archetypal. Its fucking story is this or
It's
that.
a looter.
You know? Yeah, it's like
Whatever.
in those terms, I mean in generic and fucking analogical senses,
Yeah.
not in particular senses we can speak
Right.
about the forms of things. I don't mean to say we have exhaustive knowledge of anything in the whole world, not even a blade of grass. I don't even believe that.
Not
You
even
know,
close, yeah.
it's literally impossible to have exhaustive knowledge of anything. I don't mean to say that, and I also don't mean to say you're going to like it. Exactly, you're absolutely right. You know, but meaning is public. Meaning exists outside of you. You intuit. You don't invent it. It's not normative. You know, at the end of the day, difference is bigger than you. The concept that you could be the inventor of meaning is literally fucking just the most arrogant kind of stupidity I've ever heard in my life. You know, I invented difference. Like, no, man.
Yeah.
You know, and people like that would accuse you of fucking believing in some naive metaphysics. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, I guess that's where we're gonna leave off. We fucking love you guys. Take care and talk to you soon.
Fuck yeah. Struggle
Play your video
bravely
games.
default.
Struggle in Blasphemous and not bravely.
Ah, yeah.